We've been going to the Poconos as a family for the past 3 summers. And our first summer there, we stayed in an Airbnb on a property that had 2 buildings. And one day, we woke up to a knock at the door, and we opened it, and it was a policeman. Not how you want to start your morning at an Airbnb. And he asked us if we knew anything about the dumpster up the road, and we were like, no, we do not know anything about the dumpster up the road. There's another property up there, maybe they know about the dumpster up the road. And he said, well, great, have a great stay. Are you planning to go to the river? And we were like, yeah, we're right by the Delaware River, we're planning to go to the river. He goes, great, make sure you wear life vests. Cool, thanks, dude. Felt pretty random. Next day, we go down by the river. There's a little waiting area, and there are signs everywhere. It's like, please wear a life vest. Please wear a life vest. We've already lost. And then there was one of those flip numbers that they could change. And they had already lost 3 people that summer in the river. I grew up canoeing on the Delaware River, but not in that part. So the next day, my father-in-law, who I love dearly, comes to visit us in the Poconos, and we decide to tube, right, on the Delaware River, because that's what you do when you're in the Poconos. And so we go to this place, and they tell us, here are your tubes, here are your life vests, you're gonna go, the river's gonna bend, you're gonna wanna go to the right of the rapids, and then very quickly move over to the left and get out on that side. This sounds fine. My father-in-law, a Vietnam War vet who has a great distaste for authority of all kind, says, I don't need a life vest. And we're like, no, they've already lost 3 people, you need the life vest. And he's pitching a fit about it. And I do love him dearly, but sometimes I think he's a little suspect of me. And I'm like, you need to put on the life vest. And so it's it became this thing, and he decides to put on the life vest. And then they say, do you want to rope together? And they're like, you have young kids, right? So we had a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old. And they said, the thing about roping together is you'll be able to stay with your kid, which is a good thing, but it is harder to navigate the river when you're roped to somebody else. And I was like, I'm roping to my kid, thanks. So I'm roped to the 9-year-old. My husband is like, no, she's 12, she's fine. And I was like, what? But I know I can't rope to both of them because then I'm really not going to be able to navigate, right? So I'm roped to the 9-year-old. My husband is holding on to the 12-year-old, and my father-in-law is already halfway down the river. He just but he does have a life vest on. So we're going, and it's okay, go to the right of the rapids, but the left once you get past the rapids. There was something about how they didn't own the property on the right side of the rapids, so you weren't allowed to get out over there. We hit the rapids. I am starting to panic. I am roped to my 9-year-old, and in front of me, I see that my father-in-law is out of his tube. So he has this cap on, and it's sort of bobbing. My 9-year-old is starting to panic, but I know that if I show any sign of panic, that will be, so I'm like, it's fine, Papa's fine, everything's fine, it's fine, everything's fine. And I'm thinking I have killed my father-in-law. This is it. This is it. He put the vest on, but that didn't matter because when you bonk your head, you bonk your head, right? And so I am tied to my 9-year-old. I think I have killed my father-in-law. And I look back and I can't see my husband or my daughter. And I'm still trying to keep my 9-year-old chill. And so deep breath, everything's fine, everything's fine, everything's fine. We get past the rapids. I get my kid over to the left side where we're supposed to be, and my father-in-law is safe and alive, but on the right side of the river. This is a problem, but a logistical one, not a safety problem. I can now see my husband and not my daughter. And everything inside me is starting to, it's just the heat and everything is constricted. And yet I'm still on the side of the river with my 9-year-old. And I'm like, it's fine, everything's fine. You are safe. Papa is safe. We just can't get to each other. We'll work that out. You stay here. So he is on the bank with my tube and his tube. And I am running up the Delaware River. It is silty, so I'm sort of like trudging, but also running. Adrenaline through the roof, heat, constriction, and there are all these like teenage college kids sitting on the rocks, like smoking and drinking, and I'm like, have you seen my daughter? Have you seen my daughter? And they're like, no, or maybe, or does she have curly hair? And I find my daughter. She is sitting on the first rock of the rapids. She noped right out of there. That kid was like, She grabbed onto the rock and she pulled herself up and she was like, Mom, these boys kept going by, going like, are you okay? Are you okay? And I was like, but I was crying, Mom. I was crying. And I was like, okay. So then I bring her and her tube down to meet my son and his tube and my husband and his tube. And my father-in-law is gone. And my husband said, oh, he's just going to walk back up to the bridge and he'll meet us back over there. And I was like, wow, I guess we're all safe. But let me tell you, those 5 minutes that I was trudging up the silt, all I could think of was safety first.